will be coming up on Saturday for those of you who would like to catch that run. A $20 donation from Wu-Tang Rizza, who says, "Can somebody give this Prolix guy some work as a voice actor? I mean, listening to his deep, dulcet, sultry voice reading donation just make my morning. But in all seriousness, happy to donate to the cause. Had a grandfather pass recently from cancer, and it sure would be nice if no one had to go through what he did. Money goes to Donation Reader's Choice." Thanks to Wu-Tang Rizza, and could somebody please tell my mom to stop watching the stream? Nopsonize donates $25 and says, "Greetings from Germany. Cancer is cross-border, so why shouldn't donations be? Have fun. Loved Darksiders 2 when I was younger." Thanks, Nopsonize. Up next, Private Cinnamon Bun brings you a run of Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition or Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Currently, DMC4 well in the lead. On deck is Transformers Devastation. We do have a donation incentive currently going for that as well. To do co-op with Optimus Prime, that's what Cent was talking about. The runner, half-coordinated, will happily hold the Optimus Prime figure in his hand the entire time, but we do need to meet that incentive with your donations, your help toward the Prevent Cancer Foundation. One of our sponsors here at AGDQ is SomethingArtistic.net. They offer gaming-inspired decals and stickers made to decorate your consoles, walls, computers, and more. You can find them at SomethingArtistic.net or on decal.ly. Currently, $2 from every decal sold this entire week will be donated directly to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Thanks for your sponsorship, Something Artistic. Wolfchild donates $50 and says, "Great cause. Sad I missed the Oracle of Ages and Path of Radiance runs due to work. As for the donation, let's save EG's sanity and do a pacifist run." Dragon's Advocate donates $25 and says, "Good morning, AGDQ. Hope you all are having fun. I know I have watching. This goes toward playing Ratchet in style."
All right, am I ready to just go whenever? Not yet. First, I'm actually going to have to change some settings on this game. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the tutorial, because who needs that, and turn on turbo, which makes the game 20% faster, because, you know, why not? And very important, I'm going to switch range attack and double trigger. Range attack I want to have on a bumper so that it's available whenever. We're just going to do standard costume. And ready to start whenever you guys are. 3, 2, 1. Wait, never mind. Alright, whatever, just go.
Not bad.
I forgot, I actually usually time it until the save data is created. So, Devil May Cry 4 came out recently with Special Edition, and Special Edition added a bunch of new stuff. It added 3 new characters, and it slightly changed how the game worked in different places. One of those new characters is Virgil, and as I'm going to be showing throughout this run, he is very, very powerful. Right from the start, I'm going to double trigger, trigger warning by the way, that he can shoot summon swords twice as fast, and we're just going to stagger Dante. And because we got nothing else to do right now, I'm just going to break these benches. I'm interrupting Dante's taunts with a move called Judgment Cut, and that is done by holding down the sword button when you have your katana Yamato out. That was a little bit early. Alright, and the game says it wants us to do a full combo here, but it's not really about that. It's just trying to check the knockback values. And Virgil's glowing right now, and when he's glowing, his concentration is up. And so we're just going to stun lock Dante and hit him a lot. So right now, I really don't want to get hit by Dante. Alright, that was pretty much a perfect fight. Keep in mind, this is actually normal. I'm just killing him that quickly. Alright, so first mission, everything looks like it went right. So I got around 500 Proud Souls. Proud Souls are your upgrade points. And I'm going to be upgrading 2 things for mission 2. The first upgrade I'm going to get is for Yamato. It's called Rapid Slash. It's a forward charging move, and you know, it's important for movement, but it's also really important for combat later. So I'm going to start double trigger right at the start of this mission because it speeds up how fast you sprint, or how fast your sprint activates, to be more accurate. And by the way, Virgil has other weapons. He has Force Edge, which we're not going to see much, and he has these gauntlets, Beowulf. Okay, I got hit already, so I'm doing well. I actually did not want to get hit at all this mission because you get a bonus for Proud Soul points by not getting hits, but it is what it is. So we just picked up a new item, and this will let us zip around this room, or we could just say screw it and go up here. This isn't hard. Wow, he usually dies from that. Okay. So I'm going to stand still because that lets you build up concentration. And you're going to see why Rapid Slash is a very good move. There's something you can do called Just Judgment Cuts. And what a Just Judgment Cut is it's a special type of Judgment Cut that is more powerful. And it has a much faster charge up. I'm not going to explain what I did there. I'm going to explain what I did during the boss, but right now I'm just getting orbs, which I'll be getting for items later on. And there's an orb cache up here, and then a second orb cache Come on. Come on. There we go.
That's platforming in Devil May Cry for you.
Yeah, just be thankful there's nothing like the God Cube chamber in this game. That was a giant moving cube platform thing in 3, and it is very awful.
So the concentration system, exactly how does the meter build up, and what does it unlock over time?
It basically builds up by loosely playing like Virgil, which means not whiffing your hits, not getting hit, just dodging attacks, and standing still or walking during combat.
So basically it could be triggered by proximity to an enemy?
Yeah, and if you run away from an enemy or get hit or miss your attacks, it goes down. Like, notice how it decreases as I'm running past these guys. Anyway, we're coming up on our first boss. I already got hit, so there's no real pressure on me. He can be a bit of a jerk, but I'm probably going to manage him pretty well. He has a fire attack that he can do on the ground, and if he does that, I'm going to have to dodge a lot. Dodge there. Just Judgment cut his face. Okay, he hit me. Hit me again. Alright. So if you fully charge up Beowulf and then double trigger, you activate something called Distortion, and Distortion deals an insane amount of damage. So I'm basically able to one-shot most bosses in the game. Anyway, that's the second mission done, the first actual mission besides this training tutorial. So I did get hit last mission, so that means I'm not going to be able to afford as many upgrades as I normally would get. But I am going to get some here, Lunar Phase 2, and Summon Swords 2. And because Double Trigger is very important for Virgil, I'm going to upgrade it with 3 purple orbs. Beowulf has a just mechanic, which means if you release your charge just as it goes to the next level, it deals a lot more damage. Gonna do a small little turn here so I have time to activate my sprint. Your sprint activates very quickly when there are no enemies around, but if there are enemies around, it takes a bit longer. We're coming up on a new enemy type in just a bit. Frosts. These are an enemy from Devil May Cry 1. You can stun them pretty easily with Lunar Phase, and I'll be showing off why Virgil has some really broken mechanics in a second. So Virgil has a teleport. It's called Trick. You can cancel pretty much every move in the game with Trick. But the thing is, you have to have a Summon Sword embedded in an enemy to actually do anything. Also, so Rapid Slash and Double Trigger is a really fun combination because you can do this.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm just skipping every fight I don't need to do. Build up concentration. Dang it.
Yeah, the timing for Just Judgment cuts is very tricky.
Yeah, it's about like 2 or 3 frames. I'm not exact sure of the timing, but it is very precise. We're supposed to do a gauntlet here. I messed up a little bit. My aim was slightly off.
Not bad.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I went too low and I went through the ceiling.
Fortunately, this stage gives you many, many opportunities to try again, at least in this mission. In the later missions, if you fall into the pit, then you have to fight enemies before you can try the platforming
Yeah,
again.
normally in a run, I would give this like 1 or 2 tries. All right, there we go. That was a bit sloppy, but eh. Anyway, we still need more orbs, so we're going to check out an orb cache up here.
That's one you normally can't reach until you play as Dante, right?
You can get it as Nero, but you need Air Hike or Exceed 3 and a fully charged launcher.
Yeah, not very likely early on in the game.
Yeah, so like I said, we're not fighting a lot of enemies. It's kind of annoying because you would like to fight enemies in some situations because you don't want to lower your concentration gauge, but you have to do it. That was a holy water. We're going to be using quite a number of those throughout the run. They are basically grenades you throw on the ground and they deal a huge area of effect damage. We left some orbs, but we got most of them. So Rapid Slash is kind of funny because it kind of removes your hitbox while it's active. So I can just go through this guy's shield.
Pretty broken.
Oops, missed it. Alright, third mission. It is what it is, it's the marathon run. The thing we just picked up is an Anima Mercury, and we're going to be playing with Beyblades this mission, because the devs of this game have very well thought out ideas. Just short, darn it. I would like to have Summon Swords 3 and Blistering Swords for this mission, but I can only afford one of them, so sacrifices have to be made. Alright, part of what makes these so annoying is that they like to bounce around everywhere, and they are not that accurate. But they can be helpful in some situations. If you use a gyro blade to hit an enemy, it will deal a very large amount of damage. Anyway, that move, Blistering Swords, I just picked up. Part of the reason I put Devil Trigger, or not Devil Trigger, thank you, Frost. Part of the reason I put Summon Swords on a bumper was so that I would have access to my command moves for Summon Swords at pretty much any time. Alright, yeah, that hit. That's just a small little thing you can do in this mission. It saves a few seconds in Mission 5 that already have that coffin be broken. Yeah, if you've played this game casually, you know that these gyro blades are not the most fun part of the game. So I'm actually going to leave this gyro blade over here after I break this wall, because it will return to its initial spawn position once I leave the room. However, this one that I'm bringing over now will still be where I need it to be. Also, that's part of the gyro blade fun. They lock onto enemies, and when they lock onto enemies, they can behave erratically. So, I'm going to show you why Blistering Swords and Trick Canceling is so good. Alright, that last guy took a while.
Blistering Swords is which attack again?
It's Summon Swords, buffered with forward, and my goodness, Shadow Blade. Summon Swords, forward, lock on. Virgil can actually jump over this fireball, but yeah, it doesn't do anything because there's a gate up here, and the gate is only destroyed once you destroy the fireball launcher. So we could hit this reaction wheel over here, or we could just do this. The next boss coming up, Dagon. I'm sorry, no, the next boss is Bale. Dagon's later. Bale can be very mean. He can play peekaboo with you, and if he plays peekaboo, you're going to lose a lot of time. Oh, darn it, that usually doesn't do anything. My goodness, it's over.
It's the end.
Nope, that's not what I wanted to have happen. So these Rascolas, they don't know what to do when you just Judgment Cut them. Anyway, spin kick this guy, Stainer him, falls down, and go to Distortion Punch his ton. And he dies. So I'm actually pretty low on Proud Souls right now. I got hit in the last actually three missions. So I'm going to be very short on upgrades, so I'm going to have to improvise the route a little bit. Normally I would have access to most of my moves right now, and I wouldn't purchase anything until like mission 16 or so. Nah, I'll get items later. So we have fully upgraded Summon Swords now. So instead of 6 Blistering Swords, we shoot out 8. We also got some moves from Yamato. We already showed off one, Aerial Ray V. That I was not supposed to rapid slash into there. I was supposed to keep my speed. Aerial Ray V is a rising move, and it's used for quite a number of skips. Anyway, there's a fairly tricky shot here. Alright, I got it. That just saves a little bit of walking time. Alright, picking up our second holy water. The run has 3 holy waters that you can pick up, and the rest we purchase.
How many do you buy?
A lot. I'm thinking around like 6 or 7. Although it can vary if, you know, you're missing a few orbs. So this Frost can uppercut me. He's not going to because I'm jumping. Your jumps have iframes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Virgil, we're just committing vandalism. There's a secret laboratory hidden behind the Pope's face. I'm not really sure why. Alright, so we took no damage for that mission, so our orbs are slightly more on track now. Next mission is a little bit of the sink or swim point of the run. There's a fairly difficult boss strat I can do. If I get this, I'm going to be pretty happy. This is honestly like the thing I'm looking forward the most during the marathon run. It has to deal with the fact that because you don't play as Nero against this boss, they changed how one enemy works. So that instead of being able to grab it and throw it at a window, you are able to just pick it up, or you're able to deal a knockback to it. Anyway, come on. All right, that was Rising Star. Rising Star is going to be a very important move because every time you use it and let your katana sheath by landing, you get double trigger back. And double trigger is very, very important to have with Virgil. Anyway, good time for donation comments coming up. I'm just going to play Candyland because this is a good game.
We have a $50 donation from Gorian Verse, who says, stuck at home for the next few months fighting cancer myself. Kick cancer's ass, kill some monsters, and please kill the animals. Thanks, Gory. Also, Faye with a $50 donation saying, hey guys, first time watching these runs. Friend of mine introduced me to them, and I'm loving it so far. This goes toward Jill in Resident Evil HD Remaster. Just a reminder to everyone, any donation of $15 or more right now and through the next game, Transformers Devastation, qualifies you for an entry into a drawing for a Takara Tomy Masterpiece Optimus Prime MP10.
Alright, the next boss coming up. Like I said, I'm going to use the knockback mechanic for this enemy in ways that aren't intended. It's not supposed to be able to get stuck in the plate glass window, it's supposed to rebound off it. But if you double trigger Lunar Phase, it will get stuck. And then you can double trigger Lunar Phase it, and it gets stuck again. Alright, and I'm going to keep tapping this with my sheath. Alright. Oh, he's still alive. Okay. Not a very good fight, but I got the trick shown off. I'm not sure who exactly founded that trick, but I'm pretty sure it was a Devil May Cry runner known as, or not a runner, more of just a stylish player known as the Illusionary Killer, and huge just shout-outs to him and the community as well, specifically Crazy Games General. They're keeping interest in these games alive, and they constantly find new tech, and it's been a blessing to have such a resource to draw upon while running this game. Yeah, so everyone who's CGG, you guys know who you are. You're awesome. There are other speedrunners of the Devil May Cry games, but so far they're only for 4. Not 4, there's only for 3. There's Gladerlol, there's Peter Afro. By the way, happy birthday, Peter Afro. There's Ragecast, who's kind of on hiatus right now. And there's a few other guys like Useless Leonardo who have times up on the board but haven't been running in a while. For 4, there haven't been very many runners. I'm not really sure why there hasn't been an interest in this game. This is a very fun speed game. and especially for new game because your strats constantly change. You don't just have access to holy water you use for every single fight, or something like Judgment Cut End or Judgment. It's a lot of varied strats. That's not a cutscene. So we're gonna go so fast here that the camera can't keep up. Anyway, that mission went well enough. 6 minutes in game time is usually around what I shoot for. At the start of the mission, we're gonna have another orb crystal to break. I missed my just timing there. Also, we're going to pick up our last holy water that's just laying around, and we're going to be encountering a new enemy very soon called chimeras. These can take over scarecrows or assaults, and they're basically just added these swinging tentacles to them, and my god, are they terrible enemies. They randomly behave in most cases, but that went well enough. Also, we can walk up these stairs, or we can just not walk up these stairs, because this is faster. I should mention that there is a player known as Lost Feather who has found a number of skips in this game. The run uses several of them, but there's one right there that unfortunately is not possible on PC version. But because of PC version's loading times, it is still the faster version.
What makes it impossible?
It's just how the game deals with VSync. It's actually kind of weird. The move Lunar Phase, when used in midair, it actually causes you to rise slightly if you have VSync on, and when it's off, you drop. There's just small little changes like that everywhere in the game. Anyway, spin canceling these guys, it's just the faster way to kill them. Oh no, he's dead, yeah. Animations can be tricky sometimes. So, because this game hasn't thrown enough of these in my face, there are more gyros. Okay, thankfully that one didn't bounce off the wall. That can bounce off the wall that you're trying to break right there, and it's just a dumb way to lose like 10-15 seconds. So we're going to see the next boss, but we're not going to fight her yet. This is Echidna. If we see her as a dragon ever again, we're going to lose 20 seconds. There's not much I can do to change the fact that her patterns when you fight her are kind of random. So what I'm hoping is going to happen is that she is going to start laying eggs or seed pods very quickly as I start hitting her at the start of this fight. Alright, she's not going dragon. She might get stunned. Yeah, she got stunned. Alright, that's not as bad as dragon, but it's still not that great. Get up. Come on, Virgil, get into air. Alright, whatever, I'll just let her legs. Also, you have a taunt button. Virgil doesn't use taunts that much because they don't do that much, but they're fun to play with.
Do you think you...
The item we got just lets us break these little root things. in the story, Echidna kind of just took over this forest, and she's trying to do stuff, but I mean, she can't do stuff if we beat her up. New enemy coming up in a bit, assaults. I'm going to talk about them now so that there's time for donations in a little bit. I mean, the strats are about the same for them for every enemy in the game, which is if you don't have concentration, spin kick them, and if you do have concentration, just judgment cut them. Anyway, there's very little going on this mission up until the boss fight, so feel free to read out some donations.
Right on, thanks. Anonymous with a $50 donation saying, great to see some great games for a great cause, and I'm glad I caught the always amazing character action block. Keep it up and save the animals. Also, an anonymous donation of $15. They say, loving the DMC run, let's get rid of cancer, save the frames. Also, Drezeb with a $50 donation saying, hey everyone, love AGDQ and I'm so glad it's back. Let's save all people from cancer and the animals as well. Good luck to all the speedrunners. Have a $50 donation from Anonymous who says, love everything about AGDQ. My grandmother died from brain cancer, so I only wish I could help more. Keep showing how strong the gaming community is, guys. Alicine with a $10 donation saying, this is my second AGDQ and I had to donate during my favorite DMC. It's great to see this game done quick. Keep up the great work, guys. It's so much fun to watch video games and do something good at the same time. Hugs from Germany and 3 cheers for my favorite zombie fighter, Jill Valentine.
Alright, that last area was basically Lost Woods from OOT, but we know the pattern for it, so we don't need to bother about it. I'm getting some of the last upgrades I'm going to get throughout the run. Alright, we have just enough. Those no damages that we took in the last 2 missions were very helpful. Kratos is the best fight in the game, hands down, but speedrunning, he's a little bit annoying. At the start, I wanted to throw spears, so I have something to dodge and raise my concentration. That also worked, okay. I got a new move, Heavy Rain Swords, which locks an enemy in place, so I can just distort punch him. Yeah, I need a little bit more Devil Trigger. Alright, now I'm just going to spin kick him. If everything goes well, he'll go slightly up in the air at a good time. He actually does not have a mid-air animation for dying. This is his normal death animation, and it's kind of lengthy, so you want to avoid it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show that off, but I had a good fight. Yeah, 308 in game time is pretty good. So this run, it wouldn't be a speedrun if it didn't have RNG that could just screw you over for no reason. These enemies, if they're nice, they can do an attack that I can counter and deal a lot of damage off. They're probably not going to do it because they rarely do it. They're not going to do it now, especially because I just killed one of them. Alright, good fight. So we're into Order of the Sword HQ right now. We're supposed to be going directly in front of us, but there's a giant root, so we're going to be taking a side trip. Wow, rude. Okay. You want to stay away from those moving lasers because they will hurt you. Anyway, pick up an item that lets move past these lasers. And remember how I said Rapid Slash doesn't really have a hitbox to damage you? Yeah, I can pretty much just dash through the lasers. So this room is called the Gauntlet, and it's supposed to be a lengthy fighting section as the name implies, but we don't have to do that. Stinger, while in midair with double trigger, shoots you forward quite a bit, and we can use that. Darn it, I dropped my input. We can use that to go forward and skip most of these fights. Alright, this one's a little tricky. Alright, I got it.
Nice.
And I got hit by that laser. Alright. I'm going to let my concentration build up a little bit so I have time to just judgment cut these guys for max damage. Yeah, we don't need health. If we get hit during this fight, we're doing something very wrong. So I just showed off something there. You would think that the knockback effect from his wings would only apply once, but it actually applies multiple times. I'm still not entirely sure why that's the case, but it means that you can't do this fight as quickly as you should be able to.
Do you think you stand a chance?
Yeah, so that was a boss, by the way. He went down very fast. I always forget that cutscene's there. I don't know why. So we're going to be encountering a new enemy. These are called Mephistos. No, sorry, they're called Faust. They're a cousin to the Mephistos. They're basically meaner versions. That's not good. He went out of bounds. Oh, wait, no, never mind. He's still caught there. If they fall too far, they actually get their cloak back, like that guy just did.
It's nice that summoned swords actually hit through the walls.
Yeah. If that wasn't the case, this would be a much more annoying run. So, more dodging lasers coming up. Great time for donations.
Good job.
Little background on this one. Later this afternoon during the Disney block, there's a donation incentive for Kingdom Hearts HD Remix 1.5 to sing 3 Disney songs. When's Marvel sends in $75 and says, "Now I'm motivated to fight cancer, that is." Another year, another donation to an amazing event. This money goes to the runners singing about Gaston, the greatest hero that Disney has ever created. The incentive to sing has been met, but only the top 3 Disney songs will be sung. So feel free to vote with your donations toward the song of your choice. Also have $15 from Standard Man, who says, "Hello from England. Please put my donation toward half-coordinated playing through Transformers one-handed while holding an Optimus Prime figure with the other, because Optimus must be honored. Good luck to the runners, and thank you to Tech Crew." Hey, shout-outs, Tech.
You can't see it, but they're raising their hands. Alright, we're going to be using the item to stop time here if this guy will die. Alright, there we go. I can't really control where in the cycle I get this, but it's looking like I got a really good cycle spot. So I was able to save a couple of seconds here. Now, if I had full concentration, I would go to the orb crystal that I had to the right of me as I ran past those Angelos, but I don't, so I'm not going to do that. Also, on my rapid slashing. We're going to be using our first Holy Water because Angelo Captains are not the most fun enemies to fight. And we're going to be fighting Dante again. The optimal fight for this is actually spin kicking him and then locking him in mid-place while he's in the air with your summoned swords. Alright, dropped it. Dropped it again. Alright. Not a terrible fight. You have to get all the orbs in this room before the game actually lets you exit, so I was just checking over there.
So you use the Holy Water against the Angelos. As a general rule, where do you use Holy Water throughout the run?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Do I use Holy Water throughout the run? Only the ones we pick up and that you can purchase because this is a new game. New Game Plus would just allow whatever items you can get.
Oh. Sorry, I guess it cut out. Where exactly do you use the Holy Water as a general rule throughout the run? Are there
Any fight that is full of things that can go wrong. Also, I'm not doing this correctly.
So, like in particular, enemies that would take a really long time to kill, where, like in fights where there aren't more enemies that would spawn, are probably the best place to use Holy Waters?
Yeah, exactly. This part where they don't spawn in waves, that's very important to using Holy Waters, because there are some places where there are a lot of enemies, but they spawn in waves, so you can't get the full effect. Alright, good, I saved that. If you fall down there, you trigger a fight, and that wastes a lot of time. We don't have to fight this guy, so we are not going to. Darn it, just thinking I was out of his range. So I haven't really mentioned this, but Rapid Slash normally has a disgustingly long ending animation. It's literally like a second and a half. So I've been canceling that with just adjustment cuts and trick cancels when possible. Ah, come on. That's a little bit of a tricky thing to get. Whatever, we can just call the elevator back. I didn't really mention it, but I'm skipping a fight right here. And that's one of the themes of Virgil. Virgil can get height when he's not supposed to get height, and it allows him to not fight things that he's not supposed to not fight.
Not bad.
And just making sure I have full concentration before I go into this fight. This is the Pope. Some of the popes are evil, as history has taught us. We are gonna punch him very hard.
Bye.
No, like, even though we took off like 90% of his health, you still have to do this next phase. I've tested actually dealing so much damage that he dies instantly. Even though he has no health net left, the next phase happens anyway. Yeah, Virgil's not happy with this fight. So, with Nero and Dante, we would have finished up Nero's section of the game until mission 19 and 20, and we would be playing as Dante now. To give a little bit of info about how Dante and Nero play, they play well, but they're not overpowered like to an extreme lengths like Virgil is. Virgil just deals more DPS than pretty much every character in the game. Alright, dodge. Darn it. A little bit early. I wanted to build up concentration here. Two reasons. One, the next fight I have, it's just faster to have concentration before you go into it. And other reason is because this skip after I do it. By the way, you're supposed to fall down this pit. Yeah, so we don't. Just another chance to distortion punch a crystal for a ton of orbs.
Is the crystal a set amount of orbs, or do you get more for doing that?
You get more orbs based on how much damage you deal to it. So obviously distortion punching it is going to get you the most orbs possible. Alright, good. Sometimes he teleports into a spot that will get you hit by that spinning blade. And that's very unfortunate when that happens because you lose your concentration. That was a little off, alright. More holy water coming up again. This fight actually doesn't take too long. It just happens to save slightly more time to use holy water than to fight it out normally. Alright, this next DT Rapid Slash is actually fairly tricky because this angle is kind of precise. If you're off by a little bit, that's going to happen. You're going to get caught on an edge. So, this game has a reputation for being a lot of refights, and while that is true, I still think the campaign is fairly nice for what it is. Devil May Cry 4 is definitely a victim of having a rushed dev cycle. So we're going to be seeing the bosses that we killed earlier. We're going to be doing Echidna in a little bit. She's changed the forest around so that it's now a giant maze with portals everywhere. I know where to go, but if you don't know where to go, this mission is very tedious and very long and just not fun. Stand still, build up concentration. I want these guys to cluster into a spot. Alright. Nope, didn't happen. Alright. Alright, that was good enough. Come on. Yeah, Echidna tries to taunt us throughout this level, but we usually get away before she can finish her lines. So these guys, they, as you've seen earlier, assaults can kind of hit you from long range. They were nice to me right here. But they can snipe you and make you lose all your concentration, and they can also dig into the ground and then burrow backwards, and they will kill you. Or not kill you, but deal a fair amount of damage and waste time. Anyway, Echidna fight. Again, hopefully I can show off the optimal strat for this fight. Nope, she got stunned again.
Show me your might.
Alright, next mission. If you've played this game, you know what's going to happen. There's a new enemy introduced. They're not exactly an enemy in the game's AI, they're kind of an environmental hazard that you can kill. But they're called faults, and they can eat you up. And if they eat you up, you will be teleported to another area, and you'll have to redo the entire area that you were just in. So I'm going to have to be very mobile during this section to make sure that they don't get a lock on me.
How much time do you lose if they get you?
Anywhere from like a minute to 30 seconds. Yeah, besides not getting eaten, there's not much going on here, so feel free to read out some donations.
Sure. One quick request first. Could we get a roll call from the couch?
I'm CyberDemon531.
Percentage in SDA.
I've got a donation here, $10 from Anonymous, who says, my wife's son introduced me to this marathon during AGDQ 2013, and I've been enjoying watching it ever since. Shoutouts to my boy Cyber on the couch, and let's kick cancer's butt. Greetings from Germany. Roxas Omega sends in $25 and says, I'm so excited for AGDQ this year. This is the first one I've been able to catch live. Put this toward the Sephiroth fight in Kingdom Hearts, and let's beat cancer. One thing I wanted to mention too that I didn't bring up earlier is the bid war between Devil May Cry 3 or 4 did raise over $1,200 in donations.
Not bad.
Thanks for that, yeah. We still have donations coming in toward our next incentive, the next runner's game. Andy H. with $50 says, I need to see the co-op Optimus run. Let's make it happen. And Anonymous sends in $20 saying DMC4 SE and Transformers Devastation were two of my most played games in 2015. I'm thrilled to see them both being speedrun into tiny
that's
little
gonna
pieces.
cost me.
Virgil motivating himself to smug cancer into oblivion, and Optimus punching cancer in the face? Hell yeah. Half-Coordinated's Vanquish run last year was incredible, and I want his bromance with Optimus to be as beautiful as it was with the soda.
Do you think you stand?
Yeah, so that's what I meant about having to redo an area. These guys I already killed, they come back. Alright.
The last one was really close.
Yeah, this mission is very stressful to do in a run.
How often do you reset here?
Maybe about 30-40% of the time. I mean, it's not, what happens most often, but it happens often enough where I've started to develop a fear of this mission. And more of moving so fast the camera doesn't know what to do. So we got Eden that mission, so the endgame time's not going to be that great. Yeah, 345, not very good. Even though we got Eden by fault, we took no damage, but that's not a huge benefit to us because we're going to buy our last upgrades here and basically ignore our proud soul count for the rest of the run. There's a very annoying enemy type coming up known as Blitz, or Blitzeye. I'm not really sure about the plural because I try not to think about these guys. They basically dance around and teleport and try to hit you. But if you use the holy water, you take down their shields and then you just tap them once and they're dead. Normally those guys take like 30 seconds to kill, so holy
So-
waters are very helpful there. Oh, you were saying?
Yeah, sorry. So the holy water drops its HP down to 1, but it doesn't actually trigger the kill animation
Yeah.
until you hit it.
Yeah, and the animation of a blitz dying gives you style no matter what, so even though nothing happens, like you dealt it next to no damage, you go up to an A rank. Anyway, that move that we just got was Judgment Cut End. This is basically a pocket area of effect attack that deals quite a bit of damage. Despite how cool it looks, it's not actually as helpful as you would think for the speedrun. Because it does take a while to use. You have to have full concentration to use it. You have to be in double trigger to use it. And it's also a very expensive move, so you don't get it until later in the game. I didn't mention, but the castle is kind of covered in ice right now, so we're having to take a very roundabout route to get to the boss area. Another Judgment Cut ends. I'm going to need full Devil Trigger, so I'm going to Rising Star these guys. Alright, this guy's basically dead, alright. Now, if the next room goes well, a bunch of enemies are going to spawn, but they're not going to have a chance to do anything to me. And this is actually extremely tight on your double trigger timing. So, I have to kill these guys, my double trigger depletes, turn around, double trigger, alright, I got that. As you can see, that guy leaped up and tried to hit me, but he couldn't do it. By the way, those blue launch pads are kind of broken in this game. They don't work as intended in a lot of areas. Both the humorous effect and annoyance. He tapped me. Oh well. It just means I won't have max concentration for this next fight. I'm gonna have to stand around for a little bit and build it up, but that's not a huge deal. This frog, he's a little bit different than the previous frog, I thought. And he's already playing peekaboo, oh my goodness. Alright, so part of the reason we got so many holy waters is just to deal with this guy if he decides to screw us. Yeah, so he's partly invisible, but he still died, so... Good game. Also, this next mission is just horrendous in casual play. There's a poison gas throughout the first area, and it damages you fairly significantly, so you're kind of on the clock to race against it. Thankfully, we're not going to do it. Yeah. So we just saved like 5 minutes. I hear your enthusiasm and I welcome it. Yeah, the castle is free of ice now because we killed the frog, so we're able to get the hell out of here. Franker's.
Ralph Rosines?
That's not the best dog, okay? I mean, if we're talking about the best dog, it's Little Z, but we that's not canon.
That's debatable.
So, a little low on my orb counts, a little low on holy waters. I think I only have 1 left. I'm gonna need 3 to finish the run. Yeah, so I'm gonna make a small little stop right before the boss. Anyway, Burial was actually a threat earlier because he's the first boss we faced besides Dante, and even though Virgil starts out fairly strong, he doesn't have the greatest of toolkits to deal with him. In fact, Burial is notoriously difficult with Virgil because he has an area of effect fire attack, and getting caught up in that is very easy with Virgil because Virgil has next to no evasive maneuvers to go backwards unless he has double trigger active. If you might see my double trigger pretty much instantly fill up during this fight. Didn't happen this time. Yeah, this is the attack I was talking about. I just managed to get out of its range. Yeah, alright, just avoided it again.
Bosses on the return trip also tend to recover quickly.
Yeah, there's AI is a little bit changed for the second fight, but the third time you fight them, their AI is almost completely different, and they're just so much more aggressive. This mission's actually pretty interesting because there's a lot going on with the fights. A lot of management of your devil trigger, a lot of management of your concentration. I mean, I can't really explain that stuff in words, besides I'm doing things very deliberately in the next mission to make sure that things go well later on. And mistakes are actually pretty costly in this mission because messing up one thing kind of like messes up an entire machine that's working. And already off to a mediocre start. Alright, that's good. Alright, I actually ended up hitting his shield a number of times, which lowered my concentration, so I had to wait around a little bit to get it back. Thankfully, we are good on Proud Souls and Orbs for the rest of the run, so I don't need to worry about either of those now. So even though this next area has enemies spawn in waves, I trigger one of the waves as fast as possible so that I can use a holy water to maximum effect. Alright. Blade didn't hit me good. Oh, no. Alright, yeah, alright. I was able to cancel that trick with a trick. Okay, you can cancel Judgment Cut End with a trick. And that's what I did, and that actually saved me quite significantly because I got turned around. Otherwise, that would have been maybe a 20-30 second time loss. You can actually cancel out of Judgment Cut Ends in fairly weird ways. Trick up, even though if you have a summon sword embedded in an enemy, you can still trick up when you're not really supposed to. Alright, let's pick up a little bit of double trigger here. Alright, 4 runes, that's enough. Anyway, Bug Boy again. I don't like this guy. Alright, good fight. Next mission, a lot of people don't like it. I disagree, and I think that it's a perfectly fine mission. You have to know what you're doing against this boss, or he's going to take quite a while. To start, we're going to destroy some gems on his outer surface, and we're going to destroy 2 specific ones so that we trigger a reset in the fight. So we kind of just get knocked off him and put back to a neutral spot. Alright, jump on his hand. Alright, wasn't supposed to get hit there. Alright, let's see what pattern I got. That's a good pattern. It's random whether or not you get a cannon or a laser beam here. And thankfully we got the cannon. The cannon saves about 10 seconds. Because if you get the laser beam, he has to chop it, and then once he chops it, he gets stunned, and then once he gets stunned, you gotta damage him. Also, I don't really know why, but Trick is broken in this section, so you would teleport around to areas you're not really supposed to. That's what I mentioned about those blue pads not really working. I entered it at a weird angle, so it just didn't let me go to the next one. And this one is going to miss. No, wait, never mind. I already missed the one I was going to miss. Unfortunately, I didn't get the S rank, which means I can't show off S rank taunts. Virgil will spin a sword around his finger like a basketball in one of them, and that's a lot of fun to show off. Anyway, in the story, this is basically our stepdad. We're going to kill it in like 1 hut. Anyway, because this is a Capcom game that Capcom has ignored, starring a blue character who can shoot stuff that's not Mega Man, this is going to be a refight of bosses. Now, if I'm very fast at skipping that cutscene and rapid slashing this die, I'll get it on a 4. And I just barely made it, so that's a cycle skip with the die. Yeah, these guys take a while. This is actually not that long of a fight to do, but, you know, you have a holy water there. You're going to use it. I mentioned this earlier with Carcinogen, but the bosses during the refights are much more aggressive. Burial, in particular, tends to recover at like 3 times his normal speed. I don't know if I have double trigger or not. Hope I do. Oh, I didn't have concentration. Okay. Yeah, so keep in mind on... I just have to keep my eye on my concentration meter, and I did not. So that led to a costly mistake. And because I used up my holy water buffer against Dagon earlier, I'm not going to have that here. So if Dagon decides to play Peekaboo, I just have to eat it. Alright, looking like he's not gonna. Alright, very good pattern. Oh, Christ. That's not that good. Yeah, I should have hit him there, but I got greedy with my double trigger. I thought, yeah, I'm not going to need the extra security of heavy rain sorting him. So I didn't, and that caused him to step back just a little bit, so he got free.
If your spacing is off by a little bit, the uppercut doesn't connect, he decides to play Peekaboo.
Oh, portal's over there. What am I doing? Alright, Akida's been very rude to me throughout this run. Hopefully she's going to give me a good pattern finally so I can show off what it looks like. Even if she gives me a dragon, I will gladly take it because I can just show how silly Virgil is. Alright, yeah, so this. I'm going to tap her. Oh, never mind, she went out of range. Alright, I learned my lesson with the last boss, so.
Do you think you stand a chance? Do you think you stand a chance? Do you think you stand a chance?
Yeah, Virgil does not like being interrupted. Anyway, last of the refights, it's Bug Boy again. His AI is actually different than the first 2 times you fought him by quite a margin, so let's see what he does. If you stand still, he'll usually back up and summon dogs. Very nice fight. Okay.
Show me.
I don't have double trigger. I'm just a little bit short. Alright, time is coming up relatively soon. We're going to fight the Pope again. And as you can see, the common theme of this game is punching things very, very hard. I'm going to do some pretty deliberate stuff here so that he doesn't give me too bad of a pattern and so that I have concentration to deal with his attacks better. But ideally, I should not be getting hit in this fight. Alright. Alright, he's going to block until he decides not to block. Alright, good. Time's coming up very soon. Time. $1:13:20. 40. Yeah, it's about 2 minutes off my best. I'm just gonna goof around here at the end. This is a credit sequence. You kill 30 guys and you get an alternate costume. For Virgil, it's a red coat. He's gonna try things Dante's way for once. But I won't bore you too much. It's just more of the same stuff that we've been doing earlier in the game. One thing I didn't mention is some of his moves have different properties if you're in double trigger. Like, that regular combo with Yamato deals an insane amount of damage if you let it combo all the way with double trigger. Also, you have a neat sheath animation for when you break an enemy's block. Anyway, that's 30. That's all I really care about doing. Virgil walks away from the non-canon telling of his adventure and basically says, yeah, I'm Nero's father. Probably, I don't know. Capcom hasn't really cleared up the issue. And new costumes have been added. All right. I'm going to surrender the deck to Half Coordinated now.
We received a $50 donation from Twisted Chai, who says, really enjoying my first live AGDQ, and seeing DMC done quick is impressive. Hope that we can reach the bromance for the Prime. Greetings from Germany, and thanks to all who make this possible. The bromance with the Prime is the incentive for our next game, Transformers Devastation, to have Half Coordinated hold an Optimus Prime figure while playing one-handed the entire game. We are tantalizingly close to making that incentive. We're almost 90% complete on it. We need just a couple $100 more in donations. Got a few minutes to get those in. I also have a $50 donation from Fella Crux, who says, I'm looking forward to seeing some awesome speedrunning over the next week. Best of luck to all the runners. Put this toward announcer's choice. Thanks, Fella Crux. Yeah, my choice has been the Transformers Devastation run. Try to meet that one. And one last donation here. Probotector with a $100 donation. Hey, AGDQ, second year watching and second year donating. My mother was diagnosed with cancer a few years back and won the fight. So here's to help others do the same. Also, current announcer's voice is the best one I've heard. Have a heart. In less than 3. Thanks, Probotector. Thanks for your patience. Took me a while to get around to reading that one.